Hello all, I hope you're doing well. So we're starting with the head in this video. We'll just be trying to get the head model and also retopologize it in the same process. And I'm going to be using ZBrush, which most Blender users might not be familiar with. Basically, as much as it's a different software, the techniques that you'll be learning are quite relevant to even Blender sculpting. So it's just basically the same technique for sculpting. The only different thing is the software I'm using. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an object. So we'll be adding a UV sphere and just draw it right in the center. So it's just basically adding a sphere in Blender and start sculpting with it. And let's turn on X symmetry and just change the matte cap. So for the first process, we don't want to jump right into the details. Basically what we'll be trying to achieve in the first few minutes of sculpting is to get the overall form of the character, which is Guru, that we're trying to create. So even to get it even better, before even going for a cartooning character, we just want to get like a nice looking human form before like stylizing it, so that we know we're working with a very nice proportion, that we get all the nice planes of the head looking right, so we can easily translate that into a stylized character. So at this point I'm just going to mask out this place. You could do this in Blender by adding an extra object instead of masking, or you probably can do that with sculpting. I'm not really familiar with sculpting in Blender so much, though I've heard lots of good things about it. I use Blender primarily for my stuff modeling, but for the sculpting I use ZBrush. And I wanted to just wing it with Blender, but I said to give quality I have to do it with where my strength really is, so that's why I'm doing it in ZBrush. So as much as it's a different tool, you're getting the best result for me. Okay, so we have just a very rough shape, just to make sure we have the nice planes of the character, like the nice proportion of the head, and then we can stylize it very easily. That's not the problem. Let's add cheekbones. Also important, the mouth position. So this is just a generic human form. Also for the skull, so a good way to do it is to grab the flattened brush and you start creating those faces and just sharpening, kind of blocking them out, so you get those nice angles of the head. Okay, so once I'm happy with this, I can now add the Dynamesh, just add more geometry, so that's all it is. And now we can actually start sculpting Guru. Start stylizing it now, because we have a very nice base to start working from, and we can start blowing out all the unnecessary landmark of a realistic character, because of course this is stylized. At this point I'm not going to like focus on any much details. My main goal is to get the overall shape of the character that I'm trying to create, and just picking out those proportion or features that stand out in the character. That's what I'm focusing right now. I'll not even focus on adding the eyes or anything. So I need to make the head more rounded. So there's no like, except like you've done it for maybe 2 decades of character sculpting, that you immediately get you can easily get your forms quicker. But if you're starting out, it takes some time. Like, I'm able to just create a characters form very easy because I've been practicing it, and I hope I can able to pass on that knowledge with you guys. So as much as you try sculpting and you feel you're not getting the forms immediately, don't beat yourself up. It's quite normal. So you kind of have like a slanted head top, and for the neck I'm kind of compromising for it because the reference I'm using, or the image I'm using as a reference to create this, don't have, the neck is not visible for most part, because even the most reference online is he's covered. You'll hardly see him without like a scarf that is with. So like I said, at the first stage, don't focus on any details. All you're just trying to do is kind of get those kind of rough shape of the character. So make sure that all the forms make sense and kind of resembles the character you're trying to create, which is practically the tip you should get, like if you're trying to create likeness of any, be it realistic or stylized. You just want to make sure that everything is flowing. You want to focus on the shape because you can easily miss out if you're not particularly looking for the shapes. So that's why you want to spend the first 30 minutes of your sculpt just making sure you get the shape correct, and once you get that, it becomes easy from there. The girl character is a very nice design because kind of mixes different shapes. Miss it, like the shapes are like rounded and square. Like if you're looking at the reference, you can see like his shoulders, as much as they're round, kind of they look squarish, kind of give the vibe of someone that is loving but yet rigid in his ways, and they did a very nice job transmitting that. So for the ears, the way I go about ears is quite interesting. We can at this point, if you're using Blender, you can actually just add the sphere. It works the same, and what we'll be doing now is to just scale it on the y-axis and just shape it roughly to what you think it's gonna look like. And then we'll grab the clay brush or the draw brush and just kind of create the ear indentation. Okay, so creates the back shape. I like to deal with all of this at the very early stage so that it doesn't become a problem later. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, you just need to get the overall shape looking good. In case you start getting stuff like this, a quick fix for that is use the inflate brush to kind of separate the two faces. Okay, so now what we'll do is I kind of clear the mask. Okay, so now we still have the mask, or if you have it as a separate object, you can just rotate it into place. you want to make sure you're following the reference so you can see the placement. Okay, so once you have it roughed in place, you can invert the marks or select the other object, and then this area you want to move it in to kind of connect the ears. Something like this. So we can clear the marks, and yeah, I think we need more subdivision, so I'm just going to increase this to like 200. Or better still, another quick way to fix this error is with the inflate brush again, just separating the faces, and then you can add your dynamesh or dynamic topology. So we have the rough placement for the ears. This is just all temporal. Basically, like I said, we are just looking to get the shape of the character before we move forward. Okay, so for the eyes, like I said, I'm not committing to any shape yet. So for the eyes, the way I go about it is to kind of create temporal placement of the eyes. So I'm just going to add some bulge here so that I get the right shape before even any details, so I can adjust everything at the early stage without having to break my design when I've gone far. Okay, and now I can grab the standard brush, kind of draw out the shape. Just draw out the shape of the eyes which you're trying to create. Okay, and if you look at it, it looks good from the front, but from the side it doesn't look good. And that's by design, because what you do now is now you can adjust the depth to kind of give it that 3D eyes feeling, so it feels good with in all angles. So as you can see here, the placement is weird. It's way below the nose, so we have no problem just pulling it up, and that's set. You can just grab the crease brush of the damp standard, just start shaping out the eyes some more. Okay, also here. So let's focus on the nose a bit. Just of course, looking at the reference, just what we're trying to recreate. Get the nose creases here. Just use any brush and just pull it in. It looks nice. So it's like it's okay to take like forever just getting the overall form without worrying about like lot of details, because if you go, like I said, if once you get this, like everything makes sense quite easily. You don't have to worry about changing a lot of things again, because you already have the basic form and everything just looks nice. Especially if you have a reference, it's even easier so you know what you're looking for. Okay, so we kind of have like a nice nose bridge here. Yeah, even though it's not so obvious, but like a banana. Probably need to push the nose downward slightly. So that's why it's so important you don't just jump right into the details just yet. You want to take as much time as needed to just get, so you could adjust all the shapes, especially when you're trying to recreate a concept art or create your own custom character. For the body process, we'll not be sculpting it out, we're modeling it. I just needed us to model the face because um, it's stylized, and using box modeling, it could work, but there'll be a lot of tinkering, and I just find this more artistic to work with, especially for faces, so that you can just get it very fast. Okay, so now let's forget all the face feature and start getting the forms of the cheek and making sure everything is coming together nicely. It looks like Guru. At this point, just to make sure we are getting that look, I will just go ahead and add another sphere to kind of rough out the body, even though this is not going to be the body. It's just so we have like a rough placement of the body already. Because since with our current reference, we are not really seeing the neck, we need to kind of have like a template, temporary stuff that will act like it. Okay, so now I can see things more clearly. We need to bring this down some more. We need to slant the head down some more. For the mouth, this is quite easy because it doesn't have like a very defined shape, so we can just get away with creating like a crease there. I'm going to use the pinch to kind of bring them together. Okay, so we're getting like some undesirable crease. Yeah, so we'll just fix that by adding more clay. So we're kind of there, but currently we're not getting that charm, because as much as Guru is kind of a grumpy character, there's still like a charming factor of that comes with him. So we need to look for that now before moving forward. Okay, so bring this out some more, just trying to get that charming factor, but we need to rotate the head slightly. Okay, so that helped. Okay, in hindsight, I should have gotten more reference of like a side view and stuff. Anyways, I will just go on with just one angle which I'm working with. Kind of have like a frog head in the structure. Okay, so we're quite close. So it's, and now let's focus on the ears. So for the ears, we can just start adding more details and make sure we're not getting that clipping. So we can just inflate the ears so that we can actually take advantage of the double faces. Okay, the ear is quite like it has some details from the reference, so we'll try to create that because it's not as detailed like a realistic ear, but we have some of that. At this point, I'm still just focusing on getting everything to look and feel right before I decide to start adding more details. This is like the most important part of the entire process. Okay, so we need to bring the eyes closer some more. So to even help me further, I'm just going to just kind of simulate the stuff around his neck, the neck. Forgot the name now. Anyways, so you want to even simulate it, just simulate the final image as much as possible. Sometimes you can even start coloring if it's going to help you get the likeness. So we need to pull this a bit forward. So that we can make no room for this. Kind of have like a little chubby cheeks. Okay, so from the reference, our mount is a bit higher, so we need to take it down some more. Okay, so let's focus on the eyes some more and kind of get it looking good. So for this, just add more. Let me just go for a smile for now. Okay, so now we can start adding more definition to the eyes once more with the crease brush. And if you hold down, you can invert the brush to get like very sharp edges. So one thing I've noticed is that the eyes we are creating kind of look smaller. So I'm just going to scale it out like a frog. Hopefully, yeah. So start getting that nice guru appeal. Like I said when we started, there's no like, as much as you know anatomy, it still needs tinkering with. You need to just, anatomy will get you, allow you get shapes quicker, and understanding anatomy will allow you get the shapes quicker. But like for most part, it's just you pulling and moving stuff around. Mouse placement. So he doesn't have any indentation here. The face is quite, looks quite smooth. So let's see. So we're getting it. The nose looks quite long, so let's reduce that. Okay, so at this point I'm beginning to like, I think we are like close to the shape now, and so we can start defining things some more. So let's start with the eyebrows. We can start defining the shape so we get that strong eyebrow. So when sculpting, don't be afraid to add as much elements you need that helps you start seeing the final result as quick as possible. Because like when you're looking at trying to recreate something, you might get carried away that just getting the basic face will be easy for you to just get the final result. But it helps a lot if you start adding elements that helps you understand the shape even much better. So okay, let's shape taper the head some more. Could do it from the back. Okay, so at this point, let's see, probably proceed from here and start adding other features now. Like right now, it's kind of is beginning to look like it. So let me save this quickly. But we'll even know someone we will start adding colors and adding the eyes to make sure everything is looking good. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the eyeballs. So for the eyeballs, basically you can mask it, but you could also just brute force it and just push all of this inside. This is no problem because we'll be retopologizing it, and so we'll be able to get clean mesh from it. Okay, so we can just go ahead and, depending on the software you're using, with Blender it's much easier. You could just add this as an object, but here, so you can just drag it out too, and we can just place the eyeballs. So it doesn't matter if it fits so much in all aspects. If it fits in most places, that's fine, because we are also trying to make sure we get it to follow the eyeball. So we just place it there. Okay, and now we can split this into another group and keep sculpting. So now we'll just try to match the underlining eyeball some more, because it will help us get that rounded eye shape. Okay, so you can just use a clay brush and kind of define this area. I'm just using the flattening brush, kind of make sure we're getting that defined plane of the head. If we kind of create, if it's quite sharp, we can smooth it out. So like I said, Guru is like a blend of both rounded shapes and box and planes, to kind of give the vibe of a loving and yet a very rigid person. Okay, so let's define this eyes. Let's clean it up some more. At this point, I will just paint this to kind of start getting some colors into it. So like I said, you want to give yourself enough edge as possible. So adding colors greatly help see how if you're getting the reference correctly. It doesn't even have to be so accurate, just kind of an approximation of it. And you can see as we do that, it kind of adds more life to this and we start seeing that we are kind of on the right track. If we can even do some for the face. And even for this cloth, just solid colors that kind of give us a rough estimation of what we are creating. Okay, just pulling this actually helped bring out more likeness. Let's taper this in slightly. Okay, so now we can start adding details and defining more areas. Doesn't have to be perfect because we are definitely going to do sculpt. We're going to do retopology, and then we can move on to the body, which will be more fun because we'll just be using box modeling to do that. Hey, just some few tweaks and we'll be done with this. So basic keynotes or memorable moment from this video is like when starting out, even though you're going for stylized character, you want to make sure you start with like kind of get a rough shape of a human so that you can kind of block out those important landmarks like the planes of the human face, which are basically easy. You have one here, the forehead, the main face, the indentation for the eyebrows, and you can definitely look up reference online, which is even the most advisable for even someone that doesn't have strong idea of anatomy. Just reference is the key. Just look up online and work with it. You'll just search for human planes and you'll find a lot of it. We can even kind of paint in fake eyebrows to make sure we are getting the right expression with if everything was working. I think we did a very good job with the short amount of time. So basically what I'm doing now is just defining those nice shapes so that when we get to retopology we are going to be able to retain those stuff we want nicely. Okay, so that will be it for this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at how to retopologize this character. And for the ears, we'll probably go with a more simpler ear, just the ear shape, and probably this. That's a very simple cartoony ears. So I've gotten a very nice. We have a very good start. So like I said, we'll be retopologizing it in the next video. Just go. I'm just cleaning it. It's cleaning up the forms some more so they're very precise. So if you're working with Blender, you can just start working already. But if you're with ZBrush, we'll probably have to decimate this before exporting it, so we have something that will work well in Blender, which is not in Blender cannot handle higher resolution, high mesh count. Even if it's Maya, it's always advised to work with the most DCC app friendly poly count, so that you get the best out of it. Okay, so let me stop ranting. This is where we're going to stop for the head. The next stage will be retopology, and then we can move on to the body. So thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope this particular video was useful. It was quite long, but this is the most important part. So see you in the next one.